Hi, everybody.
I started by firing glitter cannons. You guys, welcome back to the Not the Joe and Debbie Show, to Cash and Courage.
This is Cash and Courage. Joe and Debbie Show was like so a year ago.
I know, but I love that show. I love this show.
Ouch.
Are we too close to the camera?
No, I just kicked the dog and hurt.
Okay. Probably hurt him too.
Probably.
No, just kidding. You guys, welcome to Cash and Courage. We're so excited to be back and at home and in our space. You guys, would you ever feel the same? Let me know in the comments below where like you go on vacation and it's so awesome to be on vacation, but then there's a part of you that really wishes or is really grateful to be back home in your own bed with your own pillow.
Like this has nothing to do with today, but the beds where we're at we've been there before and they've always been awesome. And then we have this new bed at home and our bed kills it. Like
our bed is amazing. It's like sleeping on clouds. And so now I feel bad for all the other beds on the planet because they're just not the same. But it is good to be back in our own space. And we hit the ground running this week. We've been go all this morning. And we are excited to talk to you. And I just want to give a shout out. I see Robin and Karen and Aaron and Christine. Thank you so much for being here. If we didn't call out your name, Facebook tells us that you're here, but it doesn't always tell us who you are. So feel free to give us a shout out in the comments below. And if not live here, we will definitely come back and say hi after the fact. So usually, often, always.
I try to, but it doesn't always happen.
But we try. So the thing that we want to talk about today, because it's kind of been coming out of my mouth a lot, is this idea of like, what is it costing you to stay the same?
There's a cost associated to not like making any change in your life? There
is. And we don't usually think about it because here's what's been coming out of my mouth recently. I've had some opportunities present themselves that are really incredible, amazing opportunities to work with certain people, to refine my message and get my keynotes in place and really empower that. To work with someone in the realm of social justice and how, as a white woman, I can be more powerful in my conversations about what's happening in our country in regards to race and race relations and all of that. Like these really neat opportunities. And the word that kept coming out of my mouth was like, oh, how much does that cost? Like, we just went and grabbed some bread from the grocery store.
Money stories about.
And I love that I get to do this show with you guys because I like you to see that you're not alone and that I'm here walking that journey with you. And hopefully in my experience and what I'm learning from Joe, that we can pass some of that wisdom on to you for it to help in your life. Because what came out of my mouth as I'm walking out of the grocery store is like, I'm so stressed because there's the cost of this and the cost of this and the cost of this and the cost of this, like all the costs of what I'm putting in to grow my business, but not just my business, myself. Because I think it's easier for us to what's the word I'm looking for? Explain, excuse, two of the evil X's. It's easier for us to justify a cost when we're like, oh, well, I'm putting it into something that will directly bring me money back. I'm putting it into a marketing program that will teach me a funnel to make money.
Most of the time, we'll find money for things we really want, and we'll make excuses for things we really don't.
As to why we can't have it. But I think a part of that is going, it's easy to say yes to this thing because I know it's going to bring this right back to my pocket, and it's harder. How do you put an ROI on learning about social justice? Like there's nothing about that program that I see is going to immediately turn around and put money in my pocket. But the power of that program, the ROI is different. And so as we were talking about that today on our grocery trip to the store and our ride home, the conversation— It was really a
lunch trip because we needed food for lunch.
We needed food for lunch.
For a week, right?
We're like, our fridge is dramatically empty, but everything's dramatic in our life. I didn't know what else to say it. Drastically? Very? I don't know. In my life, everything is drama. No, just kidding. It's not drama. But it can be dramatic. But all of that to say that when we start looking at making these really powerful choices, I think in our minds, we're going through this kind of mental calculation of, can I do this? Is there an ROI here? Is there an ROI that I can explain to other people to justify this choice? Because there are some things that will give us a direct turnaround. And there are some things that we invest in, especially in personal development, spiritual development, money mindset development, all of those things. Well, no, I can't say that. Yours definitely. Joe's comes with an ROI that's in monetary, but I know as someone who works in spirit and magic, looking at what I provide to the people around me doesn't always directly equate with a monetary ROI. Like it's there and it comes in down the road and it's a part of what we do. Like I had one client who was like, oh, this was a 100K session because that's what it will mean to my business. But there are times when the ROI is not a monetary ROI. And that's kind of along the lines of what is it costing you to stay the same? As we go through making this choice of what's coming next, we're running the numbers in our head of what is it costing me to say yes to the new opportunity. That's the money story, right?
Mhm.
What is it costing me to say yes to the new opportunity? And is the cost associated, is the amount of money that I need to pay for this group that's going to help me understand at a deeper level social justice, is that cost connected to that worth the opportunity, right? Is the cost associated with hiring an expert to help me with my messaging worth the investment? Is the cost in hiring a coach? Is the cost in attending an event? Like that is going through our heads. But as Joe and I talked today, one of the things that came up was, what is it costing you to stay the same? Because I think it's very important that we talk about the idea that staying the same is always an option, right, Joe?
Always an option. Like, I mean, we promote change all the time, right? Becoming better versions of ourselves, but that might not be everybody's goal, right? Your goal may be just, hey, I want to just survive today. Hey, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
It may not be if you come across this, right? And most people who do that want to like not move or stay or like, what am I trying to say? Most people who come across my feed who don't want change will just scroll past.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's what I know. But there are some people who come here and honestly, there's no judgment from my end. Like if you want to stay the same, go for it. You know what you want, right? If you don't know what you want, then I'm like, come on, you got to figure something out. But if you know you don't want to change, that's cool.
That's okay. And it's about understanding what fulfillment means to you. And if you are incredibly happy and fulfilled in the life that you have, if you love the amount of money that's coming into your bank account, if you love the relationships that you have in your life, if you love the life that you've created and you're like, no, I'm good. This is where it's at. We celebrate you. Congratulations. But for those of us who are, not but, because I don't want to discount what was said before, and for those of us who are interested in expansion, for those of us who are happy in the now and also are going, how do I have more or create more or impact more? How do I take what I've been given and what I'm living and go, I'm so grateful for this, and let me expand, grow, increase. For those,
next level,
hit that next level. For those, there is a cost in staying the same. So something that I have had to learn over time and that Joe continues to remind me on days like today, a cost associated with moving forward, there is a cost associated with not changing at all. Okay? Look at your bank account. I mean, that's the easiest place to go first. I think that's one of the reasons you love money so much, is because it's a really good reflector. Right?
But there are other resources in our lives that could be costing us too for not changing, right?
Okay.
Like time. I mean,
what is it costing you to not grow in your time? These are things that you guys can journal about. Hint, hint. So grab a piece of paper. What is it costing you in time to stay the same?
What about people? People's another great resource to look at. What's it costing you in relationships to not change?
Can we go back just a second? Can you give me an example of what it might be costing in time? Let's give them concrete examples of what it might be costing in time.
I mean, business owners, right? Most of you all I know who are on here today own businesses, right? What is it costing you in time for you not to outsource some of the stuff that you don't have to do?
For those
right?
who,
if you want to stay the same, right? I'm going back to the stay the same, that we do it all ourselves all the time, and that's all there can be, because we're too scared about investing in ourselves or investing in our businesses.
Right.
So that is costing you money. Like, but all this money going out, but time is also a resource. What else could you do with that time that would generate more income?
How could you better leverage that time?
That's a good way of saying.
Because you want to leverage it, because we can give a lot of stuff to people and then still get caught in busy work.
Yeah.
But if we're willing to give stuff to people and then use our time more powerfully, leverage it more powerfully, then we can get even more money by leveraging time and people, right? I also want you to think about boundaries. I had a recent experience where I said yes to something I didn't want to say, yes to, but I kind of felt like I had to. Old stories coming up, choosing into old stories. And I ended up giving like hours and hours and hours to the situation that I didn't want to give.
And then how you feel about it later?
I was so angry. Oh my gosh, I was so angry. Angry at them, angry at me. It reminds me.
So here's a great learning teaching example, right? So not only did you spend time with, number one, we're gonna count this out real quick with how time can affect us, right? Usually I talk about money, but time is also another good one. So not only did Debbie spend more time than she wanted to doing the activities that she knew
they weren't what I wanted to be doing. They weren't
what she wanted to do. Okay.
Okay.
So she spent time doing that. So there was time that she felt was wasted, not used how she wanted to. And then what's the second thing that happened? Where else did you lose time?
Time spending energy being angry and upset instead of doing the next thing.
Yep.
The time that it didn't go into the thing that I wanted it to.
So now she still has to go do that.
I still have to go do that thing. Right. And it cost me in relationships and energy because there's some negative darts that I sent to people that they didn't need to be sent if I had just held my boundaries.
All because she said yes, even though she knew she needed to say no.
And it actually is pouring over in today. I'm just looking at other things that are not getting done because the thing that I wanted to do, like it just spills. So there's a total cost in time. So thank you. Thank you for going back. I just wanted to be clear on what that might look like. There's a cost in people and relationships, and tied to that is energy, right? The kind of energy that we're expending. Think about your relationships. What are the relationships in your life costing you right now if they're not in alignment with you? Think about that. What are they costing you in energy? What are they costing you in emotions? I also had a recent experience of being with people who don't like the way that I show up in the world, or that it rubs them the wrong way. And it's interesting to me that I put myself in that situation.
You've had many of those this week.
I have. It's been so fascinating to me. Reminders that I need to clean up my own stories, but the cost in the energy, the cost in the hit to my personal value, because you better believe as a human being, because I'm human, that some of the things that they say that are unkind, like it hurts. And I have to, then it's the cost of like dealing with the hurt and processing that, and then having to climb myself back up into, okay, no, I'm okay again. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I still haven't gotten to a place where what people say to me doesn't do anything to me. There's what they say to me, I go, ow, and then I figure it out and move back up to stasis. And that ow is getting faster, but I'm still not directly across the board. And so when we maintain relationships or give energy to relationships that are actually not, they're not, they don't serve us in a powerful way. Okay. And I'm not here saying we need to cut everybody from our lives. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying let's give our time, energy, and attention to relationships who are willing to edify us rather than tear us down. Because there's a difference between disagreeing with us, because there's people that disagree with me, that's cool, and tearing someone down and making them, trying to make them feel less than for the choices that they've made because they're not your choices, or vice versa, right? And so there is a cost. What is it costing you to continue to try to meet their expectations? We had a great conversation today with a group that we're mentoring about the cost of expectations, about trying to live our life based on their definition of woman, their definition of wife, their definition of mother, their definition of human, their definition of whatever, their definition of man, their definition of husband, father, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There is a cost involved to maintaining that status quo. Mm-hmm. Okay. What other things do we want to be looking at when we're looking at the cost of staying the same?
I think a lot of what we've talked about so far, right? A lot of people aren't even aware that everybody, when we say, cost of staying the same, they always think money. It's always a monetary thing, right? That I'm going to have less of the green stuff, right? But I think people and time are great ones, right? Mm-hmm. Also look at yourself. What's it costing you as an individual to stay the same, right? Because that's the last area I always look at. What, like really, when you look at personal development and yourself and growth and change and all that, do you want to continue to be angry all the time, right? Because I know plenty of people like that. The world's just not working out the way they want it to, and they're not doing anything about it. But guess what? The only person that can change the world is you. Nobody else is going to do it for you.
And that sucks. That's both good and bad news. The bad news is it sucks because only you can change the world, right? And that can be hard to hear sometimes. But the good news is you can change the world. So you don't have to wait for everybody else to get their shit together. You don't have to wait for them to wake up. You don't have to wait for them to support you. You don't have to wait for them to like jump on your bandwagon. You can do that for yourself and be empowered in yourself. Because another thing that I attach to self is your dreams. What is it costing you in terms of fulfilling your dreams?
That's a good one.
Are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Are you that vision that you see in your head? Is it actually coming true right now? Because from personal experience, I kept telling myself someday this is going to be true. Someday I'm going to take vacation. Someday I'm going to travel the world. Someday I'm going to feel fulfilled in my work. Someday I'm going to write the story. But it wasn't until I woke up and said, oh my gosh, that day has to be today, right? As soon as someone tries to take away all of your some days, you realize that, oh my gosh, it has to happen today. Because if it's not happening today, I am not guaranteed someday. So what is it costing you in your dreams and in self-fulfillment? To wake up in the morning and go, instead of questioning if your life is good enough and if you love yourself, waking up in the morning and going, oh, today is a new day and I love it. Or today is kind of like I'm curmudgeon-y because I still wake up curmudgeon-y. But then I'm like, how do I want to design today? I can change that.
Wait, what? You can change that? You can design your own day?
I do it every day. I do it every day. Because there's this ability that I have from the choices that I've made. I've learned how to let go of the things that I can't control and the things that don't serve me in order to choose into the things that do. So if I were to give a monetary value, my first impression would be to say priceless. What was the cost of choosing into me? Priceless. But if I wanted to give it a monetary value, I'd say at least $1 to $2 million.
Yeah.
That would have been the cost of staying the same. That was the monetary cost of staying the same, was $1 to $2 million. So as I look at the $1,000 that I'm going to invest in an opportunity to learn more about social justice and to learn how to use my voice in a way that helps people of color and that helps other people who are struggling in places where I feel blessed. As I learn how to do that, you better believe that that $1,000 is nothing compared to the $1 million or $2 million it will cost me to stay the same. Because that's what it would cost me. If I were to look at relationships, time, energy, emotions, self, and dream fulfilling.
It could cost you more than that.
Yeah, easily. I'm seeing 10 in my head. But that's just me. That's just me, because that's how much that future is worth to me. It's worth at least $10 million. Because I'm not going to say priceless, because my brain doesn't process that. My brain barely processes 10 million. After that, I'm like, I don't know if I can see that much money. So at least $10 million for me to stay the same. So I want you to think about that. We want you to think about that for you, to be able to go, okay, these are the opportunities that are presenting themselves to me. That's awesome. This is the cost of saying yes. What's the cost of saying no?
Look at both sides, right? Because again, we talked about some like time, people, even
energy,
your own energy, love for yourself, right? Debbie talked about dreams. There's all these different currencies we have in life. Money's just one of them, right? And I love talking about it because it's so tangible. It's so easy to like pick it up and be like, keep looking at my stack here, right? And you guys have seen my money stack here. I have this stack of money that sits on my desk, right? It's so easy and tangible to look at it and be like, hey, this is real. I can see it, right? I can touch it. I can feel it. Some of these other things aren't so much. So sometimes we go to money as the only currency and be like, oh, what's it costing me to do it or not to do it? But again, there's other resources in our lives that are so much more fulfilling than just money.
Do you want to know some of the other currencies besides the ones? Confidence, courage, joy, excitement. I'm excited for my life. I love it. And I agree with Mary Hanley. It is hard, but so rewarding. When we choose into aligned opportunities, right? When we choose into aligned opportunities, it can be hard. There are stressors. It is like, where's that money going to come from? When they are aligned opportunities, the reward on the other end, in my experience, has always far surpassed the monetary investment required to take that step forward. And it has definitely surpassed the, what am I saying? The cost, not just in monetary, but the overall cost of staying the same.
Yeah. So the reflection back to you again, right? With the whole episode of the whole name of the episode is like, what is it costing you to stay the same? Like literally, I want you to take an audit of your life and see where it is that the opportunities you have coming up are preventing you from making more money, from having better relationships, from being more in control of your time, right? From all these things that are pushing against you, because all these different entities from the outside are pushing against the joy, the excitement, the experience you can have, because you keep choosing the stuff that's not serving you. You keep choosing into the experiences that really are costing you more than you really know.
Absolutely. And I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to take it one step further because it's cash and courage. And I want you to come back here and share with us. Once you do that audit and you go, okay, what is it really costing me to stay the same? Come back here and share with us. What is the monetary value that you can see in staying the same? Okay. What is it costing you? You can give me percentages. You can give it to me in Kit Kat bars. You can give it to me in joy indicators. You know, it's costing me 10,000 joy points, right? This is about you understanding for you what it's costing you. And if that's a monetary value, I can say it's costing me $10 million to stay the same. It's costing me 100 million joy points to stay the same. Because joy is way much more important to me than money.
Like a 10 to 1, huh?
Right? And so those are the things, whatever that is for you, I want you to identify it and I want you to share with us what it is in costing you to stay the same. Let's see. Aaron says, I've always valued my time over money. Don't get me wrong. I like money, but my higher value resource is time. That's really good to know. That is so powerful to know. And it's really important for you to understand, Aaron, then that the way that you interact with money is going to be reflected in the way that you interact with time. So pay attention to what's going on with your money and the stories you have around your money, because they are found inside time. And if I were to give everything away, they're found inside love too. But that's a conversation for another day. Sorry, I didn't.
Well, I'm done here.
No, you're not. No, you're not. So come back and share with us. We would love to know. And Melissa, I think your comment too as well, that it's so costly emotionally. It's like PTSD after exposing ourselves to the wrong relationships, because you're surprised when you meet the right people. Mm-hmm. I can echo that. Like, I didn't know relationships could be this good. I had no idea until we started cleaning up our own world, right? Yep. And our own, deciding our own stories and our own rules to live by. And the people that have been coming into our life, I get blown away time and time again at how incredible these people truly are. So I agree 100%. Yep. Okay.
I always say, you know, to change the world around you, you have to change your own world being you.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the world's not going to change for you. You have to change the world. And if you're not willing to do that, then you can be miserable and grumpy for the rest of your life.
Or not miserable. I mean, if you're not miserable, if you're just okay, that's okay. If you just want to be okay. Like, what we really want you to hear from this conversation is wherever you're at, it's about what you want. And if you want to stay the same, we honor and we celebrate that. If you want to have a small story instead of a big, like we talk about like big, world changing, like whatever. And some people are like, I don't want to play that big. I just want to play here. If that's what you want, then we celebrate and we honor that. And if you want to play full out, across the board, expand the universe, call in the aliens. Just kidding. You don't have to call in the aliens. But you know what I mean? If you want to be world and universe changing, that's where we like to play. So it's not about discounting anyone on any part of the spectrum. It's about saying, what is the cost of you staying where you are? And for those of us who want to play bigger, how is that impacting? And what are we willing to do to say yes moving forward? Okay, that's what we're saying here. It's just know your cost, because that will help you in making your decisions. And one of those decisions is what are we calling it? Build your six-figure empire?
What?
We're coming up with names for the group experience that we're starting. It starts Wednesday. We have 2 spots left in the group. It starts Wednesday. We really want you in there. If this is an aligned opportunity, it's only $500, team. $500 for Joe to open up his complete money mastery playbook that normally starts around $2,500 just for one group, one cycle with him. And so if you're going, I have money stories, I have time stories, I have love stories, and I really want to get past this, and I really want to grow into the next level of my impact and my personal humanity, then we want to invite you to come play with us. To go, yes, it's $500 to say yes. What is it costing me to say no? Again, if it's an aligned opportunity. And that $500 covers 6 weeks in a group, intimate group experience with Joe and myself. I'll be popping in there. Mostly it's the Money Mastery Playbook. What? Was that a surprise?
Where's the surprise?
There's no surprise. I mean, it's with Joe.
I was gonna say it's what I normally do with my personal one-on-one clients, except for there's a surprise on week 5.
There's a surprise on week 5. It's not me. You heard nothing. What are I don't know what the Jedi fingers are. There's nothing to see here.
I love you. That's okay. They can know.
So it is 6 weeks. It is a deep dive into your money stories. It is going to be powerful and impactful. And it is a beta program. Joe's testing if we can bring his Money Mastery Playbook from the private sector into the group, like from one-on-one to group, and still have it be just as powerful. And so, guys, like, hundreds of $1,000s worth of information and experiences to help you move forward for $500. And if that's something that aligns with you, again, if you feel prompted by higher power, if you're feeling that thing down in your tummy or those tingles across your shoulders, or you have that knowing that says, yes, this is what I need to do, then I'm going to ask you just to say, count me in, or pick me in the comments below, something like that, to let us know that you're interested. And Joe will reach out to you individually and set up a conversation, because we are interviewing the people that come into the program to make sure that it's a good fit for you. Okay, so your first step in courage is just owning that you want to do it and saying yes. That's it. That's it.
It might not be a good fit. I've already turned some people away.
And not because there's anything wrong with you, just that at this point in time, this isn't going to serve you best.
Yeah, I'm all
That's
about
always what we're looking at.
And for the people that I turn away, I have other stuff coming out in the next few months that is going to be better for them. I mean,
yeah.
And sometimes, guess what? It might not even be me, right? But I have other resources and people I know that I can refer you to. Like, I'm all about helping you get to your next step where you want to go.
Regardless of who it's with or what the program is, we want to serve you to the highest capacity possible. So you guys, thank you so much for being with us today. Apparently our dog has just decided that something crazy is happening in the world. Hopefully it's not the zombie apocalypse. No. If it's the zombie apocalypse, somebody tell me. So, I'd hate to miss it because we're on a live stream. No, just kidding. I'm okay with it. Hold on. You close this out. We're going to do this.
Oh, I don't know. He's bonkers. We were gone for a week, and this is what we get when we come home. He's crazy always.
Bless his heart. So you guys, we love and adore you. And whatever your choice is, whatever your next step is, whether it's with us or with someone else, we're going to highly encourage you to always ask yourself, not just what is the cost of investment or the ROI on the investment that we see, but what is the cost of staying the same?
Yeah.
Because for me in my own life, that cost of staying the same has far surpassed
we have 2
any
minutes.
cost.
We have like 2 minutes left. Okay?
Go ahead.
Here's
sorry, Mary. And for any other dog owners out there.
Here's the cost of staying the same. 5 years ago, has not even been that long, right? I'm 35 years old. If I had stayed the same, I wouldn't be live streaming to you. I wouldn't have changed the way I've done business. I wouldn't have a business. I'd still continue to be a very disconnected, unhappy computer programmer sitting in my basement writing code.
I think it would have cost us our marriage.
It probably would have eventually. Like we almost terminated at one point, and then we kind of got things back together. But I was not in a good place. I was not realizing the potential I knew I had inside me. I had given up. I chose into me because of my beautiful wife. Drug me to this relationship seminar, right? And I sat there, and I'll do a whole thing about this one day. But I finally chose into me. I knew what my time was worth. I figured, hey, while I'm here, I might as well just participate. And it completely changed my life. So choosing to you, choosing to saying yes to you and what is good for you. Because it's going to cost you way more if you don't. I promise.
Can I just list some of the things? I think it would have cost us our marriage. I think if we had made it through our marriage, it would have cost us the trips that we've taken, the experiences that we've had together, the me beating you at shuffleboard.
Wow.
Just kidding.
I mean, you figure it would have cost us the last 5 years of joy that we've had in life.
And that's what I look at when you say that. When you say that, I see the memories. And you guys can go back and look at the memories on our different timelines. But that's what I see that it would have cost us, is all those beautiful memories, all those pictures and all those amazing places, the cuddles next to a fire, the jokes across a ping pong table, the moments of watching you stand up in your greatness and change people's lives from the front of the room. There's so much that staying the same can cost us, and we're not even seeing it. But I think as next gen millionaires and as next gen millionaires in training, as some of us are, that's one of the things we have to look at. Because if we have a life that we really, 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 really want, that means every day we're not spending going after that life is a day that it's costing us, that we're missing out on the joy and the memories and the experiences that we could be having when we clean up this, meaning our mindset, this stuff going on in here, so that we can actually choose into what we want. So
we can start changing that conversation about us,
yeah.
Right? My big goal is to change the way we talk about money, but in that process, I promise you, I'm going to change the way people start talking about themselves.
Amen.
So
can I say that? Amen.
Thanks for all joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
Oh, next week's not from, yeah.
Next.
In 2 weeks, we'll be at a new location.
Yeah, and I won't give that one away.
Next week, we'll be back here same time.
Yeah.
And hey, as always, if you guys want to know something and want us to talk about something, we pull the subjects from people that we've been having conversations with through the week or each other. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, let us know in the comments as well.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to approach conversations people want to hear about. Otherwise, we'll just keep on moving along and you guys can join and listen and all that fun stuff. So,
and if you want to stay anonymous, then just send us a DM and let us know in the comments below that you send us a DM. And that way we can look at the questions there and handle it. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks
for
joining,
everybody.
Thanks
for being here. It was good to see you.
Bye,
see you
everyone.
next week. Bye.